Another live stream with Dr. Keith Fairclough. That's me coming from Freedom Change Success, my private practice. Where in this live stream, this is where we talk about relationships and we talk about trying to simplify it as much as possible so that we can have healthy, strong, thriving relationships. Because I truly believe that when we have strong relationships, we can build strong families. We build strong families. We build strong communities. Build strong communities. We build a strong nation, right? And so today, we're going to be piggybacking off of the live stream we did last night. If you didn't see the one last night, I'm sure you can go on any of my social medias and look that up. Yeah, YouTube will probably definitely have it. I don't know if TikTok keeps track of live streams, and I know Facebook does and things like that. So whatever you use, it's out there, right? To kind of give you the background. I'm not going to go fully into what we talked about in that one. I'll touch on it a little bit, but ultimately, what we're going to be talking about today is what men and women really want in relationships. I think this is really important because society tells us all types of things that men want or what women want. And we have all these nice little cliches that people say, well, we just want you to be our peace, or, well, high value man, or a woman needs to be submissive, and all these things out there, right? Saying that that's what we want. But how many of us have followed those templates? We've followed those rabbit holes, and we followed those online gurus, and it didn't end up well, right? So now we have to create some type of new narrative where maybe women are all this or men are all that to try to justify the failing of the advice that we got. So, but we're gonna break all of that down, right? Because the thing is, if we learn, us, right, men and women, if we learn what we actually deeply really want in relationships, then we can start learning how to get that out of relationships, how to keep an eye out for it. And we can start learning how to make sure we stop jumping in, to these random relationships with the wrong people, and to really lock in so that we're not getting hurt over and over again. So we can actually find someone who's truly going to give us the thing that we need the most, right? So again, I'm not going to no cliffhangers or anything like that. The two things that we need the most, right? For men, what we need is we need to know that we matter. We need to know that the efforts we put forth, that our leadership, our provision, our protection, we need to know that it matters, right? That's what we want. So we talk about respect or peace or love, whatever it is we're talking about, that's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. And again, you can get more information in the previous live stream. I'm not going to go into everything right now, but that's the one thing that we as men need. For women, what women need, right? Women need security. And then, of course, it's like, he's got to make this much money and look like this and live in this place and have this position and all these things like that. But ultimately, all those things point back to one thing: security. Women want to feel safe. Right. When we talk about, I'm in my masculine, which if you've heard any of my things, I do not believe any woman can be in any masculine. I don't think women can be masculine. And to be honest, I kind of take it as an insult. Me personally, I take it as an insult because what's viewed as masculine is being aggressive and all those things like that. And I'm like, can we as men be aggressive? Yeah, but that doesn't make me more of a man because I'm aggressive, right? And so long story short, what happens is that a lot of these women, they get hurt, and so they shut off, or they don't want to open up, or they become defensive. That's not masculine. That's just a natural protection that women will use to keep themselves safe. Because maybe they didn't have an example of a good, healthy relationship with a man where he's just giving her that safety and she doesn't have to perform or sacrifice herself in order to do that. So women want that security. And there's an old saying, and I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if it's from Benjamin Franklin. I think some people credit to him. But in any case, there's an old saying that says, if you sacrifice liberty or your freedom for security, you're not going to have either. And unfortunately, one of the problems that women run into, so go into the problems now, is that women will sacrifice themselves. They will sacrifice their values. They will sacrifice their morals. They will sacrifice their heart. They will sacrifice everything, their time, their money. They will sacrifice everything in order to gain security. And that's why a lot of women will end up in relationships where the guy's cheating on you, or he leaves you with a baby, or the guy uses you, and you stay. And you stay because you're like, well, if I just work hard enough, if I sacrifice enough of myself, if I quiet myself enough, then maybe he will finally give me that security. But that's not how it works at all. It's not how it works. And that's why you keep ending up in these repetitive relationships and repetitive patterns over and over and over again, where you just keep getting dogged out. And it's like, oh, well, men are all horrible. That's the narrative we want to tell ourselves. But the fact of the matter is, are there horrible guys out there? Yeah. But the real issue is that I'm trying to sacrifice myself to get security, and it doesn't work that way. It's like you trying to go to the store and give Monopoly money to pay for food. And it's like, we don't take Monopoly money, but you keep giving them more Monopoly money. And they keep telling you, we don't take Monopoly money. Doesn't matter how much Monopoly money you give me, I don't take it. I'm sorry. And it's just like that. You sacrifice yourself, you sacrifice relationships, you sacrifice your friends, you sacrifice your money, you sacrifice your time, you sacrifice your body. You keep giving until you're empty, until you're resentful, until you're bitter, until you're hurt, until you're sad, until you're broken, until you're traumatized. And you're wondering why the relationship didn't work, because you're giving all that to someone who cannot value it. You're trying to earn that security. It doesn't work that way, because a real man's going to give you that security out the gate. He's going to want to make you feel safe. It's part of our makeup. We want to make sure our women are safe. You don't have to fight for that. Like when you buy shoes, you don't have to, oh, well, I got to buy laces as well, or I got to buy a tongue as well, or I got to buy the sole as well. When you buy shoes, it's all included, right? It's all included. When you buy a car, it's all included. It's not like, AC is going to be extra, tires going to be extra, engine's going to be extra. So the fact, if you get into these relationships, ladies, you get into these relationships and you keep feeling like you have to earn that safety, that's a massive red flag right there, because you shouldn't have to earn that. That should be on the table up front, because that comes with us being protectors, right, as men. So, I know I kind of went off on that, but that's a big issue that a lot of women have when it comes to struggling in these relationships. Now, let's slide back over to the men real quick, because we have problems as well. Now, see, in addition to obviously us not being taught how to deal with emotions and work through those, when we were younger, from society and culture and things like that, we're also taught that, to be a real man or to be a high value man, I'm going to put quotes on that, they say, what do you got to do? Be 6 foot, make 6 figures, and have a 6-pack, right? You have to have this high-powered job, or make all this money, and you have to have all that. And if you do that, you're a high-value man. Now, let me also say, I'm not saying that stuff is wrong. Or it's bad, I should say. I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah, absolutely. If you can, obviously, if you're gifted with height, then you're just gifted with height, I am not gifted with height, 5'8", but if you're gifted with height, great. That's a blessing. That's a bonus, right? Women like tall guys, because why? Because tall guys, the height, that signifies safety. All right. So if you got it, great. Things are a little bit easier for you, to be 100% honest. Even if you don't look that good, your height, that's attractive to women because it speaks to that core need of safety. Right. So there's that, right? Nothing wrong with having money, making 6 figures. That's good. Make 7, make 8, make 9, make 10, whatever. Make however much you want. Right? Nothing wrong with having a high power position and having all these great things. But those things don't make you a high value man. I'm sorry. I'm hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you. I know all the alpha male influencers are telling you that, yeah, that's what you got to do. And you got to sleep with all these women. And if you could do that, that doesn't make you a high value man. That makes maybe you a high earning man. That might make you a business successful or career successful man. 100%. I'll give that to you. Right. But as far as being tall, that doesn't really. Yeah, it's a bonus. It's one of those. It's a bonus. That doesn't make you high value either. And if you have a 6-pack, that also does not make you high value. Again, I'm not saying you can't have these things. I'm not saying you can't be these things and do these things. If you can get it all, get it all. If you can get the money, if you're blessed with the height, praise God. If you can get the money, great. If you could, get the 6-pack, great. Do those things. You should do those things. Those stuff is great. Aside from the height, because you can't really control that. If you can do all the other stuff, great. Do it. Get it. That's great. They're all phenomenal bonuses, but they're not what make you a high value man. A high value man is someone that knows his self-worth. A high value man is someone that can emotionally regulate himself. He knows his emotions. He's emotionally intelligent. He can emotionally regulate himself. A high value man is someone who sets boundaries and upholds those boundaries. A high value man has standards and morals that he lives by. The high value man, that's what a high value man is. He's ambitious. He knows where he's going. Like, that's what a high value man is. And here's the thing. His income does not dictate whether he's high value or not. His position does not dictate whether he's high value or not. All those things I just mentioned are intangible. That stuff, that confident, that's what makes him high value. So whether he's making $24,000 a year or $24 million a year, what makes him high value are his values, are his morals, are his self-worth, him knowing himself, his emotional intelligence, his regulations, his ability to communicate. Like, those things make him high value. And that's where real security comes from for women. That's where the real security comes from, because you look at all, I remember I had a conversation with a client before, and we were going into this conversation. He kind of came out of the whole red pill era thing, right? That whole thing, right? And we were talking about it, and I was saying, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say those things that the world says make someone high value. I'm not saying those things don't get your foot in the door, but they absolutely don't keep you there. The money won't keep you there. Matter of fact, a lot of these guys nowadays to make all this money, they want to be signing prenups and all those things like that, or prenups, so that they can't get access to the money. They're putting their assets in their parents' name and things like that, right? So that's not saving anything, right? Not clearly, divorces and things like that are happening. So the money's not doing it. The height's clearly not doing it. It's nice, gets you in the door, but it doesn't keep people together. Six pack or no six pack, like the six pack, like, that's not keeping anybody there. There's plenty of people who are super fit and getting divorced, getting broken up, not staying together, can't keep a relationship together. Plenty of people like that. So we know the world, and it lies, and this is the problem, because we keep going back to this template and we say, oh, I check these 3 boxes, so I'm high value. Why can't I have a successful relationship? Oh, maybe it's these women. They're just this. No, the problem is your definition of high value is absolutely wrong, and it's grounded and rooted in the wrong thing. If you're going to be high value, again, you must make sure your values and your morals, they line up. I mean, you got to be your authentic. Like, these are the things that make you a really high value. You can communicate your needs, your wants, your boundaries. You can do that. You can be emotionally regulated. That stuff makes you high value. And kind of even tying into that, another one of the issues we have as men is that we don't really know how to fully operate in our roles as leader, provider, and protector, either because no one taught us, or we're just hearing it now, or we're just making it up as we go along, or we have bad examples. Like, no one is teaching us that, right? No one is showing us that. And that's the issue that a lot of times we have. Right? Those are the problems we have when it comes to trying to get what we want out of a relationship, because we're doing all the wrong things. And therefore, we're getting the wrong results. Men, we're doing the wrong things because we think if we just make enough money, or we have enough position, or I look good enough. And I guess there's this thing called like looks maxing now, where guys are doing all these things and surgeries and pulling out cheekbones and just doing all types of stuff. I'm like, gosh. That's not what gets you in the door. And that's it. And listen, no, let me phrase that. That might get you in the door, but that's not what keeps you in the relationship. That's not what keeps you. That stuff will not keep you. It's all superficial. And it'll wear off very shortly, unless you get into start becoming like manipulative and things like that. But that stuff won't keep you in the door. Ladies, no matter what you do, if that guy doesn't want you, if he's not interested in the relationship, or he doesn't know what to do with what you're providing him, you're never going to have security, ever. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter how much you give. Doesn't matter how much you chase that goalpost. You will never have security by sacrificing yourself. You just won't. Because that's the whole thing, right? You're trying to earn something that cannot be earned. You're trying to earn something that's supposed to come with the package already. If it's not there from the jump, then you shouldn't be giving anything to him in the first place. Think of it like this. I hope this is a good example, right? If you're dealing with a financial advisor and he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. He has no track record. He has no information, nothing to show you. He doesn't work for any type of major financial institution. Would you give him your money to invest? And if it failed and he stole your money or he blew your money, would you keep giving him more money and more money and more money and more money with the hope that maybe one day he'll get it right? Maybe one day. But that's what you guys do. You're with a guy who you keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving with the hopes that maybe one day, possibly, that he'll finally give you that security, that he'll finally, and unfortunately, doesn't work that way. And all of a sudden, I'm not talking about guys that are trying to do their best and things like that. It's different. Or maybe you're trying to work at the relationship. You both are trying to work on things. That's different. I'm talking about these guys that's like, I'm not doing no work. Our therapy stuff is for you. I don't want to watch no videos. I pay bills, so that should be enough. Like, you should just lay on your back and just let me get it because I pay bills. No, doesn't work. So stop doing that. Stop doing this. Stop giving the best of yourself to somebody who cannot value it, cannot treasure it. Don't stop doing that. Yeah, and you end up heartbroken and hurt and traumatized. And stop. All right, and we're going to talk about in a second for both men and women how we can go about solving these problems for both of us. Because both men and women, we're struggling and we don't want to. We just want to have our needs met. Women, you just want to feel safe. Men, we just want to know what we matter. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those are good things. And there's ways to go about getting it without being heartbroken and having to practice dating over and over and over again and keep tripping and fumbling. Like, we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. So here are the solutions, right? Here are the solutions. This is how, ladies, how you get what you want. Men, this is how you get what you want, right? So the first thing is you have to be your authentic self. You have to be fully open, honest, and transparent from the get-go. No surprises, no secrets from the get-go. You have to be your full authentic self. You do not put on your best representative to come to the first date. Do not try to fake it till you make it, because maybe you see something in this person that you just want to hold on to. No, be your full authentic self from the get-go. If you like to laugh and joke and play, then do that. If you like to watch anime, then do that and let it be known. Like, don't try to hide these things from anybody, because you're not doing yourself or anybody else any favors. I'm telling you this right now. If you can't be your full authentic self in the beginning of your relationship, you're never going to get the thing you need the most. You're never going to feel like you matter. Women, you're never going to get security, because you're already going into it by cutting off pieces of yourself. You're already going into it the wrong way. So if you're struggling with trying to be yourself, or maybe you don't know who yourself is, or maybe you got some type of issues or trauma or whatever the case may be, you're scared of people or social, whatever it is, then you're not ready to start dating. You need to go and work on that. And if you're already dating or you're already married, then you need to go get help individually for yourself. Like, hey, I need to be my authentic self. I need to be real. I need to be open. I need to be honest. And this is not giving anyone permission just to up and leave and divorce. Like, oh, because I wasn't able to be my authentic self in the beginning, now we can't make it work. No, we got to work through that. And there's ways to go about doing that. But long story short, you've got to be your open, honest, true, authentic self unapologetically. I'm not apologizing to anyone for being myself at all. Either you want to rock with me, you don't want to rock with me. Either way, it's good. I have no hate, nothing like that towards you, right? Because you have a right to be around who you want to be around. Just like I have a right to be around who I want to be around and be in my circle. So we got to be our authentic self. We got to be open. We got to be transparent. We got to be honest. Why lie? Why start off a relationship lying? Why hide who we are? If you're a man and you're working your way up and maybe you're just working at Walmart, if that's what you're doing, that's what I'm doing. I'm working at Walmart. I have a plan. I'm trying to do this. I'm in school, whatever the case may be. And if she's like, ew, it's like, okay, cool. Hey, no harm, no foul. And you might think, but no, Keith, you don't understand. They're so great and she's so beautiful and I'll never get another opportunity like this. Or, oh my gosh, she has so much going for him and I'll never get an opportunity like this. Says who? What opportunity are you actually looking for? Are you looking to matter? Are you looking to be secure? Or are you looking to just try to get what someone else has? Or are you trying to go down that same rabbit hole? It doesn't work. What exactly are you looking for? More hurt and more trauma and more abuse and more neglect and more abandonment and more misunderstanding? Is that what you're looking for? What exactly are you looking for? Right? Keep that in mind. Be your authentic self out the gate. And if you're in a relationship, you just, and hey, listen, you can let your partner know, hey, listen, I haven't been myself like I need to be. So, I'm going to start being myself. And this is what it's going to look like. And you may not like some parts of it. But I don't know what to tell you about that, because I just got to be myself. I got to be real. I got to be open and authentic and honest. Like I can't be anything else but that. So that's the first solution, right? To getting what you need. All right. The second solution is you have to know your standards and your boundaries, and you have to enforce them. I'm going to say it again. You have to know what you stand for, know your standards, know what your boundaries are, how you want to be treated. And you need to consistently enforce it from the beginning, not later on, not when you got to do it from the beginning. If you're not doing it from the beginning, for one, you're not being your authentic self. And for two, you're leading someone down a premise, right? That's not true. And also you're allowing certain behaviors to happen that maybe your partner would have stopped a long time ago if they knew. And now you're building up all this resentment and bitter. Oh, I can't believe they would do this. And how dare they? And no, know your standards, know your boundaries, and enforce them. And enforcing your boundaries isn't necessarily just, let me cut you off immediately. That's not necessarily enforcing your boundaries. I think that's the ultimate thing that you could do to enforce your boundaries. But just cutting someone off right out the gate, that's not enforcing your boundaries. A lot of times that's actually running. A lot of times that's actually just being scared. A lot of times I'd be just scared of conflict, right? No, that's not the immediate thing to do. First thing you need to do is teach people what your boundaries are. And of course, we might have boundaries in all types of different things. So to sit there and try to do a laundry list and teach someone, so you can do it in the moment. If someone does something, again, you're being open, honest, and transparent and authentic. So what you can just do is like, oh yeah, I don't really like that. When you said that, I don't really like that. Oh, I'm not really a fan of that. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, man, that kind of offended me, man. I don't really do that. Let the person know. Let them know. Not in an accusatory way, just sharing your perspective. Use an honest statement, say, hey, this is how I want to be treated, right? I just want to let you know that, so there's no misunderstandings in the future. So really important to know how you want to be treated, know what that's your boundaries, and then have your standards and your morals, your values, have that stuff and stand on those things and enforce those things. Because a lot of us, if we know what our standards and our values and our morals and our boundaries are, a lot of us won't even get into the part where we could be traumatized because we're not going to open up ourselves to someone we can't trust, someone who's not going to respect our boundaries, someone who isn't aligned with our standards and our morals and our beliefs, right? So that's another solution, right? And I have two more, right? So just stick with me. All right. The next one is to know and express what your needs are. You must know. And how can someone meet your need if they don't know what your need is? How? And granted, yes, I know I said men want to know we matter, women want security. But what exactly does that look like for you? I can give you a general idea, but each of us, it shows up differently. How I feel valued, how I feel like I matter to my wife might look different to how my friend or my brother feels valued by his wife. What makes my wife feel safe might look different than what makes your wife feel safe. So we have to know and share with our wives and share with our husbands exactly what our needs are, how they can do it, and you got to make sure they are actionable. So don't just say, I just want to be loved. What does that mean? What does that look like? Oh, I just want to be appreciated. What does that mean? What does that look like? Start getting very clear with what your needs are. I'll give you a quick thing. Anybody should be, if you were to write down your needs, anybody should be able to pick them up and complete them to your satisfaction. That's how clear you need to be with your needs. I should be able to pick up my wife's needs to feel secure, and I should be able to do those things verbatim. Anybody else should do those things verbatim. They should know exactly what to say, exactly what to do, exactly how to show up. It's got to be clear. That's a big issue we have in our relationships. A lot of times we're not clear with what our needs are. And if we're not clear with our needs, or we don't know our needs, then how can someone else meet them? And guys, and this is specifically to guys, please, 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 please stop using the cop-out answer of, as long as everybody else is happy, I'm happy. Okay, you know it's not true. I know it's not true. You know it's not true. Because I'll use this as an example, right? So what if your wife is happy and your kids are happy and everyone's happy? Let's say you'll use your wife as an example, and you like intimacy, want intimacy, but she's good without it. But she's good. Like, she's good though, right? Are you now happy? Are you now happy? Let's just say, yeah, I don't really gotta be intimate at all. Maybe a couple of times a year, maybe, if I'm feeling frisky. But would you be happy with that? Would you be happy? Of course you wouldn't be. So don't, or I'm just happy if the kids are happy. Sometimes you feel like unappreciated by the kids. It's like, I do all this stuff for them. I'm not saying, listen, we have kids and it's our responsibility to do for our children. First and foremost, I'll say that, right? A lot of times we expect our kids to pay us back, and that's absolutely incorrect. Our kids don't owe us a thing, not one thing. We brought them into this world. We make the decision as adults to bring them into this world. It's our job to give to them. However, it is nice when they come back and say thank you. They say, I appreciate you, and say you're a great dad or you're a great mom. It does feel really, really, really good when they want to come and snuggle up next to you and hug you and kiss you and things like that. Like, it feels really, really good when our kids do that. But what if your kids never do that? They never say thank you. Matter of fact, gentlemen, what if your kid, you were like, man, I don't feel appreciated. And your kid says, and this is your reasonable service. You're supposed to do this. There is no above and beyond for you, Dad. Now, yeah, I don't care if you work 20 hours. What's that got to do with me? You're supposed to do it. And the crazy part is they want to be wrong. But how would that make you feel? So we got to stop saying these things like, oh, yeah, as long as everyone else is happy, I'm happy. It's not true. I mean, yeah, it might bring a sense of pride and joy to us that we're taking care of our family. But dang, yeah, we do want to feel like we're appreciated, like we matter, and like we're loved. Like, we do want to feel that. So stop using that as a cop-out and make that list. And again, any woman should be able to pick up that list and say, I know exactly how to make this man feel like he matters, to let him know that I see him. Anybody should be able to pick up that list and do that. Now, for the last one, and this might go without saying, but I'm really going to drive one specific part home. You got to learn how to communicate. If you're going to have your needs met in any way, shape, or form, you've got to learn how to communicate. If you don't know how to communicate, your needs are never going to be met. They're not going to guess them. It's not, oh, well, we were together, so they should know. No. You need to make sure you know how to communicate your needs using I statements. And I've said in other videos, using the SIR method. Talk about the situation first, right? Again, this is your perspective. You talk about the situation. You share the emotion. You share the reason. How did that situation generate that emotion? That's what the reason is, right? And then you share your request. The request that's a mutually beneficial request that wins both, that we both share, right? So if you're expressing your need, you're sharing in a way where, hey, when I feel like I matter, then guess what? It makes me feel like, hey, I want to do more. I want to pour in more. And I want to love more. I want to give more. That's a mutual thing, because now she's getting. And vice versa, she might say, hey, when I feel safe, makes me want to give more, makes me feel open to, more intimacy or more connection or whatever the case may be. So being able to communicate that clearly is really, really important. But again, you have to know what your needs are so you can communicate them, right? Really, really important. And then, but here's the clincher though. This is the part, if you don't get anything else from this live stream, this is the part I really want you to drive home, because none of this can work. Everything we talked about up until now cannot work. It cannot work unless we learn to listen. You must learn to listen. If you're not learning to listen, if you're listening to respond and not understand, you will never, ever, ever have your needs met. Ever. You must learn to listen. Not only will your needs not be met, you will not be able to meet someone else's needs. You've got to listen. I just cannot stress that enough. There are so many of us in relationships getting into fights, arguing, yelling, tearing each other apart, getting defensive, stonewalling, having contempt, being critical, all this, arguing, yelling, screaming, all this in front of the kids and friends and family, and just beating each other up, simply because we're not listening. Some of us have gotten knocked down, drag out fights for hours, for days, just for us to come to the end and the conclusion like, oh, that's all you were asking for? Oh, that's what you were trying to say? Oh, that's it? After the whole battlefield, a trail of disaster that doesn't just disappear because now we understand. We have to learn to listen. Again, if you get nothing else from this live stream, you must learn to listen. Yield the floor, empathize and validate. And again, that doesn't mean you have to agree. It just means I understand why you feel the way you feel. It makes sense as to why you feel what you feel. And then you summarize and confirm back to the other person to make sure you fully understand. Because once you fully understand, then guess what? Now you can actually meet their need. And now guess what? They can start meeting your need. So that's what men and women really want. Men, we want to know we matter. Women, you want security. We can only get these things if we learn to understand one another. And you do that through listening properly. And again, all the other things we talked about in this live stream. I don't got time to recap it right now. But you can always run it back afterwards. It'll be up on all the platforms. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on LinkedIn. It'll be in all these places. But if you need help with this, if you're struggling with this in your relationship, if you're struggling with understanding one another, if you're struggling with having your needs met, if you don't even know how to identify what your needs are, then reach out. Reach out. I'm here to help. I have resources. I have essentially anything you need to help solve your issue and solve your problem so that you can have your needs met, so you can finally feel like you matter, sir, and so you can finally feel secure, ma'am. So you guys can actually, in your relationship, so you can actually start really experiencing the love you all deeply have for one another. Because one of the saddest things is to be in a relationship and have all this love to give and not being able to give it. Or when you give it, they're not able to receive it. That's so sad. That doesn't have to be your life. It doesn't have to be your future. It doesn't have to be your relationship. And even if your relationship has been through the ringer, if your guys are willing to do the work, you can come back from the brink. You can come back from that depth and you can make things better. You can have the best, absolute best relationship of your life. And again, I always try to tell people, I'm not speaking from some textbook. I'm speaking from lived experience where I'm using the same skills and strategies that I'm talking to you guys about on these live streams, the things I'm teaching my clients, the things, the things I've done in my own marriage. And I'm so thankful to God that he spared me and spared my relationship, had mercy on us, because I couldn't imagine being with anybody else. I don't want to be with anybody else. I'm so thankful to God for my wife, for Jamie. Like that's my wife's name. Like, I'm so thankful to God for her. Why? Because I was finally able to receive the love she had for me. And now she's able to finally receive the love I have for her. And when we're getting it, oh my gosh, it's like, man, the overflow. I can't express it enough. Can't express it enough. So if you're willing to do the work, please reach out and let me know. I'm not going to say it's going to be all sunshine and rainbow. It's going to be easy. But if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to be consistent with the strategies I'm talking about, you can save your relationship. So you guys take care. Have a great, blessed day. I got to hop into a session. But again, if you want to see the replay, you can go back and look at it. But I just always want to let you guys know this. I always want to let you know. All right, it's really important. You are not alone. You're not alone. Y'all take care. Have a great, awesome, and blessed day.